Hey, my name's Izzy, this is Rolling Virtual Cards. I'm coming at you with another MTG video talking about the blue cards from Doctor Who. Last video I talked about the white cards, went over each individual one, telling you exactly where they belong, where you'll see play, and all that good stuff. Today I'm going to hit up all the blue cards, let you know where they're coming from, let you know exactly what to expect from them if you end up playing against them. Starting off with Adric, Mathematical Genius. Adric Mathematical Genius is 1 in a white, a 1 in a blue for a 1/1 legendary creature human artificer. For 2 in a blue, you tap it, copy target activated or triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. Ultimate Sacrifice, 1 in a blue, sacrifice Adric, counter target activated or triggered ability. So, copying target activated or triggered ability you control is great. I love that. You can get some really good effects. If your Doctor is great with that, because it has Doctor Companion, this is fantastic. Otherwise, any deck that's running a lot of activated abilities, Adric is going to be great in as a commander. Outside of that, I think it's completely fine as a 2-drop legendary, putting it in any deck that the commander has an activated or triggered ability. Being able to use that up is great. That's where you're going to see him played. For 3, you're not going to see it in Legacy and Vintage, but you will see it in Commander decks where the Commander itself has an activated or triggered ability. And if it's in the deck as the Commander, your Doctor is most likely going to have an activated or triggered ability, so you can copy that off. Its other ability, the Ultimate Sacrifice, will allow you to use him to stop someone from winning with an activated or triggered ability, maybe. You can't stop it forever, but you can try. Just a little nice salt of that pepper. Next up we have all of history all at once. 2 and 2 blue for sorcery. Time travel. Storm. Interesting. This is only going to see play in decks that are running suspend cards or time counter cards. There is a handful of legendaries in this set that use time travel or use time counters as other effects. Being able to storm with all of history all at once for like 10 or like 5 to 10 and up all those counters so you can do something big. That's cool. And if you've got like 5 things suspended and you can just time travel and remove all those and cast them all, you're gonna win. This is a possibility of winning in 2 different ways in a storm deck. I enjoy it. It's only going to be seen play in a deck where time travel matters though. An unearthly child. 1 and 2 white for a 3-part saga. All the parts the same. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a Doctor card. A card with Doctor's Companion or a vehicle card. Put that card into your hand and the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. Okay, this will see play in decks that contain Doctors, or decks that contain Doctor Companions, or most importantly, any vehicle decks. Just gonna put this in there. Yeah, I'd like to get a vehicle each turn for 3 turns. Sign me up. This is a great card for vehicle decks. Yes, if you happen to be running a deck that runs Doctors or Companions, that's interesting, cool. Doctor Who up. Great in vehicle decks though. You'll see this coming up in vehicle decks. Trust me. Once people can get access to these cards on the third market and everything. As foretold, another reprint, a good reprint, needed to be a reprint. It was $20 before here, even in the tails. Before that it was $10. Like, that's because it's the anime version. The non-anime versions. Oh no, what's the difference? There's the regular one for 83 cents. I'm glad that it's not expensive. I love As Foretold. Great card, great way to just cheat stuff out. 2 and a white for an enchantment, or 2 and a blue for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a time counter on As Foretold. Once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a spell you cast with a mana value extra or less, where X is the number of time counters on As Foretold. If you can proliferate, this card becomes stronger, like attracts attacks. Fast forwarding does it. But above all else, even without that, at the beginning of your upkeep, oh look, I get a chaos, I can pay 0 for a 1-drop, and then 0 for a 2-drop, and then 3, even 4. This card gets out of control really fast, allowing you to cast really big spells. It's such a great card. A Ton Soldier. I love what they did with the artifacts in this deck with that, it's blue, but it has that artifact outbound border. Really cool. Not this border, but the inner border. A Ton Soldier is 4 and 2 white, or 4 and 2 blue, for 0/0 artifact creature alien soldier. You may have a Ton Soldier into the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it isn't legendary, is an artifact in addition to its other types, and has a myriad. This is insane in a deck with EDBs, because you're gonna break stuff, advantage-wise. Okay, you're not gonna be doing much else, but you will be breaking things advantage-wise. Okay, this is gonna let you come out. Copy your commander who has an ETB effect, get that ETB effect with the Ton Soldier, has Myriad, so when you attack next turn with it, 3 opponents, you're going to get 2 more ETBs each time. 2 more ETBs. Your commander's got a good ETB, boom. Boom. Running decks with ETBs, like that focus on ETBs because your commander has like a flicker effect, boom. Boom. Getting those 2 ETBs. Heck, having this guy come in for 6 as a copy of Sad Robot. You're gonna get a land, you're gonna draw a card. Then they attack. They get exiled, so if they get blocked, they die, and that's gonna allow you to draw a card. If they don't get blocked, you're gonna be dealing 2 damage, and then they get exiled, so you don't draw a card. But like that's 2 lands every single turn you attack with this guy. Like, there's a lot of things that can go with this. The main thing you're going to see is if your commander has ETBs, this card's going to go in the deck. Become the Pilot. 3 and 2 white. Sorry, 3 and 2 blue. Say the right color. Enchantment Aura. Enchant non-commander creature. You control enchanted creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and can't be blocked unless it's attacking its owner or a permanent its owner controls. I love this. Kind of. I don't like cards that steal opponents' cards. I just haven't had good experiences doing that. A lot of people complain, they get upset, especially if you steal a commander. This one can't. But what's cool is if you steal their big 10/10, it's now a 12/12 attacking your opponents, and they can't block it. Steal something with a good or with a good damage effect, on damage effect or on attack effect, and just start attacking your opponents. Yes, please. Great. I see no problem with this. It's a 5-drop, so it's not going to be seen a lot. But, like, if you are in the right play group and you're all running good cards, stealing something like a non-commander and getting good attack triggers, it's worth it. Or a big thing. Clock Spinning. 1 with buyback 3, which means you can pay an additional 3 and return it to your hand after you cast it. Choose a counter on target permanent or suspended card. Remove that counter from that permanent or card, or put another counter on those creatures of those counters on it. Okay. Proliferate with a buyback. Pay 1 and just the reason why they can't say proliferate is because proliferate I don't think can target suspend cards. But for 1 mana at instant speed, just be able to go, I'm going to remove that counter, so next turn my suspend card gets cast. Or let's add a counter to this thing that likes stuff. And with that buyback, if you have the mana and you're running stuff, like you have a bunch of suspend cards and you can pay 4 to just keep removing stuff. Or you have a bunch of suspend cards, or you have just a commander who likes time counters on them. 4, put a time counter on. As long as the time counters are equivalent to as paying for, it's worth it. And I could see this being played there. Not the best card though. Really dependent on how many good time counter commanders are. A Cyber Conversion. 2 blue for an instant. Turn target creature face down. It's a 2/2 Cyberman artifact creature. Great. This is just a removal card. And the best thing is, you can do this on an opponent's creature. The best thing about an opponent's commander. The best thing about that is it's not an enchantment, so they can't kill the enchantment. This is a fantastically evil way to remove a player's commander, and a salty way. Do not run this card. Sorry. Do not run this card in casual. It's not nice, and if you do, don't target them. commander. It's really rude. Being able to just flip their commander face down, and it's a 2/2, and it can't do anything. What's going to happen is they're just going to make a deal with an opponent, and they'll attack with that 2/2, and their commander will die. Almost happens. I can almost guarantee you that's what happens. It'll happen every single time, because it's just not nice to do stuff like that. So, not a very fun casual card. Everywhere else, I love this. Haven't seen anything so far that would see Vintage or Legacy play, but let's keep going. Danny Pink. 3 and a white, 3 and a blue for a 4/3 legendary creature, Human Soldier Advisor. With Mentor, so when this creature attacks, you put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature with its power. So it's a 4/3, so as long as you attack with a 3 or less power, you get a put counter. Creatures you control have, whenever 1 or more counters are put on this creature, for the first time each turn, draw a card. This card says draw. I like this. It has draw, it has a way to give you that draw. So if you attack with anything lower, you're going to put a counter on it, you're going to draw a card. Okay? That's great. I really enjoy that. So I'm definitely going with that, like, heads up effects. I love any commander that says draw a card. Human Soldier Advisor is a cool card. Card type. So I'm definitely pushing the concept of this is a good commander. It is also a really fun card in decks that are running 1/1 counters. Actually, any 1/1, any counter kind of thing. Because this isn't a once per turn. It's whenever 1 or more counters are put on creatures you control. Whenever 1 or more counters are put on this creature for the first time each turn, draw a card. So what that means is, in something like an Atraxa deck, you proliferate all your creatures. You got 5 creatures. You're drawing 5 cards with Danny. In its own deck, if you have a way to proliferate every creature you proliferate, that's 1 draw per, as long as it's the first one you're doing. Absolutely fantastic idea. Runs the gambit in every single way. I really like this. I think it's an interesting payout for playing counters with the payout itself. Excuse me. And since you are attacking with them, attack triggers are great. So yeah, I think this is a really good concept. I think it's going to be not seen a lot because it's a monocolor commander, but any deck that proliferates, put it in there. Or pushes 1/1 counters. Don't blink. 1 in a blue for an instant until end of turn. If 1 or more creatures would enter the battlefield from exile, or after being cast from exile, their owners shuffle them into their library instead. Until the end of the turn, if 1 or more creatures would enter the battlefield from exile, or after being cast from exile, okay, their owners shuffle them into their library instead. Cycling 2. The Cycling 2 is interesting. You can get rid of it if it's not useful. What I like about this card specifically is it does stop some things, but I think it's too narrow-minded. It's a 1/2 punch if you blink all your opponent's stuff, making it funny. Blink and you're dead, right? It's the angels. Forget them. Weeping angels. I think that's the weeping angels. What I like about this is that your opponents go to blink all their creatures. Hey, don't blink. You blinked. Sorry, they're gone. They're shuffled. Which is fun because you can go to blink all your opponent's cards. They're like, okay, we're getting ETB. Don't blink. Put them back in your deck. Shuffle them. That's fun. Just that alone makes me love this card, because doing a blink, don't blink type thing, like blink, sorry you blinked, great. I love that. I love that. I wish this was like an enchantment that just stayed on the field and just did that effect. Would be hilarious. Like, hey, don't blink. I love that so much. Next, 500-year diary. 500-year diary. 3 in a blue for a legendary artifact clue. Okay. 500-year diary into the battlefield deck. Okay. Tap, add a blue for each clue you control. Pay 2, sacrifice 500-year diary. Draw damage. So this taps for 1 because it's a clue. If you're running a clue deck, put the card in the deck. I don't know what else to tell you. Don't run it otherwise. A 4-drop artifact that taps for 1 ain't good. One that comes in tap. But a 4-drop artifact that taps for 20? Because you got 20 clues? Yeah, this is only going to be played in the clue deck. Do not play it anywhere else. Move on, okay? To the older doctors. Because the older doctors were all about mysteries. The newer doctors are all about timey-wimey bullshit. Flatline. Flatline is 2 and a blue. For an instant, creatures your opponents control have base power and toughness 0-1 until end of turn. It's an interesting way and casual to stop your opponents from killing you. It's a fun way in intermediate or high power to turn all your opponent's stuff into 0-1s and then deal 1 damage to all creatures. 2-card combos. Does it do anything? It board wipes when you could have board wiped in another way. But like, it's fun to just stop your opponents from attacking. Or if they do attack, turn them all into 0-1s and block. That's also fun. Flesh Duplicator, 2 blue for a 0/0 creature shapeshifter rebel. You may have Flesh Duplicator into the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it has Vanishing 3 if that creature doesn't have Vanishing. So it's 2 to get an ETB on anything, and then you lose it in 2 turns. That's okay. I mean, it's not great, but it comes into the battle, creature, except it has Vanishing 3. Yeah, so it comes as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, which includes your opponent's creatures. So it comes in with the best ETB on the field, and you lose it. Or as the biggest creature on the field, and you lose it. Not bad. I enjoy it. I think it's interesting, to be fair. Not the best. If you're running a shapeshifter deck, why not? Haunted by the Family. 4 and 2 blue for a sorcery. Choose up to 4 target creatures you don't control. For each of them, that creature's controller faces a villainous choice. That creature becomes a 1/1 white human creature and loses all abilities, or you create a token that's a copy of it. I like that. Choosing the 4 best creatures on the field that your opponents control and going, do you want me to have a copy of that? Or do you want it to be a 1/1 with no abilities? Choosing all your opponent's commanders is hilarious with this. Hey, either your commander's worthless, or I get your commander. At least a copy of it. Super fun card. I love it. It's 7, so I wouldn't really run it in many decks. It's 7 and relies on your opponents to have good creatures. Not a great card in that regard, but a really fun card. Okay? So running it in casual is fun. Okay? That's the part I like. I like that it's fun. Inspiring refrain. Inspiring refrain. 4 and 2 blue. It's a what's the word? A remake? That's not the right word. I don't know why I lost track of the word. Anyways, it's been made before. Sorcery. Draw 2 cards, exile Inspiring Refrain with 3 time counters on it. Which means you can cast it again, and again, and again. So suspend it for 2 and a blue, 3 turns, and every 3 turns you get to draw 2 cards. Run it. It's fun. If you're playing anything that can get rid of the suspend cards, more power to you. Otherwise, drawing 2 cards every 3 turns in a control deck, perfectly fine. Reprint, that's the word. Okay, here's a fun legendary creature. This is K9 Mark 1. 1 blue for a 1/1 legendary artifact creature, Robot Dog. Negative. As long as K9 Mark 1 is untapped, other legendary creatures you control have Ward 1. Affirmative. 1 and a blue, tap it. Target legendary creature can't be blocked this turn. Doctor's Companion. Okay. This is going to do 2 things. Number 1, it protects your other legendaries, saying, hey, blow up my K9 Mark 1 before you blow up, or at least pay 1 to blow them. On the other hand, you can also make a legendary creature not be blocked. In a legendary deck, this is kind of good protection. Giving all your legendary creatures protection is really good. I enjoy that a lot. Giving a legendary unblockable is really nice. I quite enjoy that. As a Doctor's Companion, this is great. Giving your Doctor protection, and then if it has an attack trigger or a combat damage trigger, Affirmative. I'm gonna affirmative it. 1 in a blue. Boom. Hey, look, it's attacking. You're gonna take the damage, and I'm gonna be drawing some cards. Or not drawing, I'm gonna be activating an ability, most likely. I like that. It's interesting. Martha Jones. 2 in a blue for a 3/2 legendary creature, human cleric. Women who walked the earth. When Martha Jones enters the battlefield, investigate. Okay, so ETB, investigating, getting clues, that's not bad. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, Martha Jones and up to 1 other target creature can't be blocked this turn. Again, I love the concept of this making stuff unblockable. If you're running a clue deck, put this card in the deck. It's great. It gives you a clue when it ETBs, and it allows you to do something if you do sacrifice clues. Because when you sacrifice clues, it and another target creature become unblockable. So you're going to at least deal 3 damage to something, which is nice. Attack triggers are great. Again, in blue, you have so many ways to draw cards off damaging your opponent. As the Doctor's Companion, again, it gives you a way to allow that commander to just deal damage or get an attack trigger. Both fantastic items. Nanogen Conversion. Nanogen Conversion. 3 in a blue for a sorcery. Choose target creature you control. Each other creature becomes a copy of that creature until end of turn, except it isn't legendary. Okay. So each other creature becomes a copy of that creature until end of turn, except it isn't legendary. This is interesting. This is interesting. There's got to be something you can do with that, because it's each other creature becomes a copy, not just your opponent's creatures, right? Okay. I'm not sure what this will do, but there's definitely some silly stuff you can do with this, okay? Something that can really help you out. I mean, yeah, I can't think off the top of my head. Are you my mummy? Are you my mummy? Yeah, I can't think off the top of my head exactly what you would do with Nanogen Conversion, but there's got to be something funny with the commander where, like, all the commanders are this guy now. Oh, that's what you do. This becomes a board wipe if your commander is like a XX Hydra. It comes in with, it's a 0/0 that comes with the normal counters. Cool. Hey, look, all your stuff are 0/0s, including mine. It's all gone. That's kind of funny. I enjoyed that. I don't know, turning everyone into a sad robot and blowing the field up and everyone drawing cards sounds funny. There's some silly things you can do with this. You'd have to think about it. There might be a way to break it. I just can't think of that way to break it. Because you're not getting easy. You're just getting stuff turned into it. And it's everything. That's the problem. Like, I guess if you can make your stuff unblockable and make everything a 10/10, but then your opponents have a bunch of 10/10s. I don't know. This is like a card that you could have an entire conversation on. I think you'll see it be played in places. I just don't know. Next. Oh, here we go. Here's a fun one. Nardole, Resourceful Cyborg. 1 in a blue for a 1/2 legendary artifact creature, Scientist, that does not look like an artifact, although I guess there's some uncanny valley with the drawing. Nice work. Tap, add 1 blue. For each counter on Nardole, spin this mana only to cast non-creature spells. Undying. When this creature dies, if it has no 1/1 counters on it, return to the battlefield under its owner's control with a 1/1 counter on it. So that's at least a way to add 2. Doctor's Companion. Okay. If there's a doctor that adds counters to their companion, or if there's a doctor that actively gives you a nice way to... Or if there's a doctor that gives you a really nice way to, proliferate that 1/1 counter from Undying, this card can get out of hand. You want to proliferate the crap out of its counters so it can tap and cast really big non-creature spells. So choose which non-creature spells. You want to run artifacts, you want to run instants or sorceries, or enchantments. Any of them work. Find the doctor that works best for it, run it there. Otherwise, any deck that's going to be able to put counters on it and is not running a heavy creature deck, this card can run in it. 2-drop to tap for a color, for 1 color is pretty good in a non-green deck. So a non-green, non-creature deck, this would see play. I just don't think it's broken anywhere there. Next up is Nissa of Traken. 3 and a blue for a 3/4 legendary creature human scientist. You have no maximum hand size, I always like that. A Sonic Booster. Whenever Nissa of Traken attacks, sacrifice X artifacts. When you sacrifice one or more artifacts this way, tap up to X target creatures, and you draw X cards. Doctor's Companion. Okay. So it attacks. You sacrifice five artifacts. You're going to tap 5 creatures so she doesn't die, and you're going to draw 5 cards. This is fantastic. Number 1, it allows your Doctor to get an attack trigger or a combat trigger off. Number 2, if you're running a lot of clues, treasures, or treasures, or food tokens with your Doctor, sacrifice them. Any like of those small artifact tokens, you can sack them all off when she attacks to draw cards. This is a good one. I like the draw ability on her a lot. I highly recommend trying it out with the Doctor that makes artifact tokens. Osgood Operation Doubler. There's a lot of good legendaries here. 2 and 2 blue for a 2/2 legendary creature, human alien shapeshifter. Looks like an alien. Again, that uncanny valley draw. Very well done art with these alien shapeshifters and these androids, or these robots, artifact humans, really giving them this like look of like uncanny valley that you just don't trust. So 2/2, when you cast this spell, create a token that's a copy of it, except it isn't legendary. Okay, so you're gonna get 2 Osgoods. Operation Double. That makes sense. Tap it, add a colorless, spin this mana only to cast artifact spell or activate the ability of an artifact. I like that. That's actually pretty cool. You're gonna get 2 of these, so that's 4 for tapping for 2 for artifacts. Cool. Paradox. When you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, investigate. That's interesting. Only to cast an artifact spell or activate the ability of an artifact. Okay. Osgoods, the 2 Osgoods can be tapped to sacrifice the clues that allow you to draw cards. So, allowing you to cast it anywhere other than your hand. So, casting from the top of your deck is definitely possible in blue artifact decks. Also, any Foretold cards, any Suspend cards work too. So, you can definitely build a fun deck around this. Is it good in the 99? I mean, you're getting any artifact deck, I'd say it's decent. 4 for 2 isn't the best. I think there's better artifacts. Maybe it's not best in that. I think, yeah, I'm gonna say it's only really good with that paradox effect if you can get that off. So any deck that really likes casting stuff from not the hand, Osgood's gonna see good play. Ponder, you know Ponder. I love the art for it. Let's see. I see what you see. It's beautiful. I love the art for it. It's super unique. Preordain, again, Preordain's such a great card, and I love the art for it. Scrying 2, then draw a card. Ponders, like, look at the top 3, then you put them back in any order. You may shuffle, draw a card. Before that night I first saw you, I had a premonition. A succession of disconnected images. A stone angel, you, a blue box, called the darkness. Okay, let's try rereading that. Before that night I first saw you, I had a premonition. A succession of disconnected images. A stone angel, you, and a blue box called the darkness. That's really cool. I love the wording. I love it. I think that's the 13th Doctor up there. Don't quote me. I've seen the picture of her in the commander. That's all. Propaganda. Love propaganda. Love the card. Such a great card. The look is great. It's subtle. It's subtler than that. Any stronger, and people wouldn't question. But contained in that rhythm, in layers of code, votes Saxon, believing, whispering to the world. Like, it's cool. it's interesting. I really enjoy Doctor Who stuff. Yeah, that's the 13th Doctor, I want to say. Quantum Misalignment. Here's a new card. Quantum Misalignment is 4 and a blue for a sorcery. Creature tokens that's create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, except it isn't legendary. Rebound. I love these. These are some of my favorite cards. Some of my favorite commander decks run these types of cards. If your commander has a great ETB, this card's great. It's got rebound. No, it has rebound. So for 5, being able to make 2 copies of your commander that aren't legendary, that's the key thing here. So not only do you get ETB effects with them, but you also get attack triggers when they attack, and combat damage triggers it with combat damage. So that is great for any deck that's running those. Run it in the deck. Very good in those regards. Renegade Silence, 3 and a blue for a 3/3 legendary, or for a 3/3 creature alien horror. This thing is terrifying. I do not like aliens that look like this. Creepy. At the beginning of your instep, goad up to 1 target creature you don't control, and put a 1/1 counter on Renegade Silent. Renegade Silent faces out. Beginning of instep, goad up to 1 target creature you control, for 1 counter. Okay, that's interesting. Silence rule. This card's cool. I'm saying this card's cool because in a control deck, this does a lot. So it's your instep. You're going to go to creature your opponent controls. You're going to put a 1/1 counter on Renegade Silent. Then you're going to phase out. Then you're going to phase in at the beginning of your next turn. You can attack with your 4/4 now, or end your turn. Go to another creature your opponent controls, making sure you're safe. Put a 1/1 counter on him. Phase out. Phase back. It's a 5/5 now. Okay? Any deck that does a lot of 1/1 counter stuff, or doubling counters, or proliferating, Renegade Silent's going to become good. It's going to get really big, and being able to phase out, forcing your opponents to deal with it at instant speed. If they don't have an instant speed solution for Renegade Silent, you're going to keep having goaded creatures, and you're going to keep getting hit with a bigger and bigger alien. I love that. Reverse Polarity. Reverse Polarity is 1 and 2 blue for an instant. Choose 1. Counter all other spells. That's a great spell. I know it's 3. I don't love 3-drop counter spells, but with more choices and being able to just counter all those spells. Nah, they're all done. Switch each creature's power and toughness until their turn. This can kill some stuff, but not a lot of things have 0 power. It's okay. Creatures can't be blocked this turn. That's good. I like that. You only choose 1. That last one is the big one. Anything that just allows you to alpha strike is great. So this doing that and giving you 2 other choices that can be useful. One that can lower the damage out on you, and one that can stop your opponents from winning, can be useful. I will give you that it definitely does have like a usefulness to it. I don't love it though. I think it's a little pushed. We're almost on to the black cards for the next video. But start the TARDIS. 1 in a blue for a sorcery. Surveil 2. Then draw a card. You may play this one. Okay, so 1 second here. Sorry for the sneeze there. Start the TARDIS is interesting. That Planeswalk thing is something you're not going to run into unless you're playing Planeswalk. Sorry, unless you're playing Plane Chase. But if you're not playing the Plane Chase variant, ignore that part. 2-drop for a sorcery that surveils 2, so you look at the 2, you put them in the graveyard or draw them, then draw a card with Jumpstart, so you can cast this card from your graveyard by discarding a card in addition to paying its cost, then exile that card. So this is a decent cantrip. I mean, I guess it's not cantrips are worse, but a decent 2-drop cantrip. Surveilling 2 isn't bad. I actually enjoy that drawing the card. If you're running a deck that likes the graveyard, I'd run it. Great way to fill up your graveyard. If you're running, if you build a deck specifically for Plane Chase, and you got blue, this doesn't hurt. Being able to Planeswalk when you need to is useful. Star Whale. Star Whale. I love this art, man. That art is just... like, I would take a playmat of this. A playmat of Star Whale or just putting it on my wall. I love that. A 6 and 2 blue for a alien whale, for an 8/8 creature alien whale. Flying vigilance, other creatures you control have ward 2. I love that they started giving whales these like stuff has ward 2 now. I love it. It's great. It's not himself, so you can kill him, but other creatures having ward 2 is great. And suspend 6 for 1 in a blue. If you're in a deck that's messing with suspend, time counters again, that's great. Just play it for 2, get it out earlier. An 8/8 for 8 with flying and vigilance, and other creatures get ward 2. Any deck that is just playing big creatures or cheating things out, this is great. And I'm not gonna even lie there. This is absolutely fantastic in any deck where you can cheat stuff out. You're going to get him out. You're gonna protect your other creatures. Put boots on him. Maybe the boots are on his fins. Maybe they're on the little flappers back there. Maybe he's got like them dangling from his little dingle dangle there. I don't know what else to call that. I'm going to call it a dingle dangle. Again, I actually like this card. If anything, turn 2 just suspend it, and like if you're playing a control deck, it'll come out on turn 6. These turn 6 suspend cards aren't great though in a deck that can't affect that can't abuse that. So honestly, like if you're playing a deck that can get an 8 drop out or cheat it out, this is a great card to give protection to your stuff. Surge of Brilliance. Surge of Brilliance is 1 in a blue for an instant with Paradox. Draw a card for each spell you've cast this turn from anywhere other than your hand for 1 in a blue. So no matter what, if you foretell this, exile it for 2 and then cast it, that is 1 card you've cast from anywhere other than your hand, so 2 to draw a card. On the other hand, if you play a deck that's casting a bunch of stuff from everywhere else, and you cast like 5 spells, cast this, that's the 6th spell, you're drawing 6 cards. This card, 100% play this card in any deck where you're casting a bunch of spells from outside your hand. You will see a lot of pain for this. Foretelling it and just like playing the game, and all of a sudden you just cast like 5 spells from Foretell and then cast Surgical Brilliance to draw, to refill your hand. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. It's definitely brilliant. The 11th Hour, here we go. Saga for 3 in a blue. 3 chapters. Each search your library for a doctor card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Don't run this card unless you're running doctors. Fair enough. Create a food chapter 2. Create a food token and a 1/1 white human creature token with doctor spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Really do not play this unless you're running doctors. Chapter 3. Create a token that's a copy of target creature, except it's a legendary alien named Prisoner Zero. This is definitely some story to do with the 11th Hour, and I think that's the 11th Doctor, I want to say. I like it. I think it's interesting in a Doctor deck, and nowhere else. If you're not playing Doctors, and I mean Doctors in the deck, not Doctor as your command. Doctor in the deck. If you are, this is great. Like, literally, just put it in the deck. If you're running like 1 or 2 doctors in your deck, because you get to search for it, it's going to cost 1 less, and you get a copy of it. What's not to like? Oh, I love this card. This card's so great. The Flood of Mars, 2 and 2 blue for a 3/3 legendary, for a 3/3 creature, alien zombie horror. Island Walk. Water always wins. When the Flood of Mars attacks, put a flood counter on another target creature or land. If it's a creature, it becomes a copy of the Flood of Mars. If it's a land, it becomes an island in addition to these other types. The Flood of Mars is hilarious because as you attack with it, you get to actively like, hey, that creature is now one of me. By the way, if you attack with it, you can target another creature and make it one. Which is fun. If you make a bunch of clones of this card and just start turning everything into 3/3 with Island Walk. I'm going to attack you. Hey, look, you can't block because you have an island. Because we're on attack. Oh, you don't have an island? Now you have an island. Okay. Next turn, I'm going to keep attacking you. I'm going to turn this thing into a flood. Now when I attack you, your 2 things are floods. Okay, now those 2 things are floods. Everything is going to be a Flood of Mars. It's dumb. It's stupid. It screams that dumb, stupid Doctor Who stuff I love. And it screams dumb, stupid Commander. No, it's not a good card. It's a bad card. But it is such a fun card to play it. Think Twice, reprint, 1 in a blue. I love its look. It's got a flash book, draw a card. 5 lift every time you say no to me. I will throw another key down there. Do we understand each other? Claire Oswald. I love it. I love the look. I love the art. That art's actually really freaking fantastic. Another banger. Time Beetle. 1 in a blue for a 1/1 creature, alien insect. Skulk. If this creature can't be blocked with creatures with greater power, so as long as you're attacking your opponent with not one X's, won't be able to be blocked. Parallel universes. When Time Beetle deals combat damage to a player, time travel. I must reiterate, the reason time travel exists is because Proliferate cannot target suspend cards. Okay? So for each suspend card you own or a permanent you control with a time counter, you can add or remove it. Time Beetle is just that, the Hummingbird, whatever it's called. Or any of those, the Hummingbird's the one that comes to mind, the one that hits and you proliferate. This one hits and you time travel. So any deck that's worried about time characters, run this card. Otherwise, don't put it in your deck. Cool. Time Lord Regeneration. 1 blue for an instant. Until end of turn, target Time Lord you control gains. When this creature dies, reveal cards on the top of your library until you reveal a Time Lord creature card. Put that card into the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Only run this card if you're running Doctors or Time Lords, I guess. It doesn't say Doctor this time, it says Time Lords. So only run this if you're running Time Lords. Otherwise, don't. Don't run it. Why? Because it's pointless. It has no point to it. It won't do anything for you. Reveal every card from your deck. Oh, look, I don't have a Time Lord. But if you're running Time Lords in your deck, even just one, it's actually interesting because if you're running a commander who's a Time Lord, you can sack it, trigger Time Lord, and get another Time Lord. So you can find that Time Lord in your deck that maybe combos with the other Time Lord. I need to see if there's a combo with that. That's kind of cool. Traverse Eternity. 2 and 2 blue for a sorcery. Draw cards equal to the highest mana value among historic spells you control. This is great. I love this. I love the amount of draw you get out of this. Put this in any deck that's running high CMC historic cards. Like you got a 10 draw or like a 6 drop artifact, draw 6 cards for 4. I will draw 6 cards for 4. If your commander is 5 or more and you're in blue, run it. 4 to draw 5. I'll take it. Twice Upon a Time. I love that. I love that so much. 4 and 2 blue for a sorcery. This is one that actually has adventure. That's cool. Unlikely Meeting. 2 and a blue, sorcery, adventure. Search your library for a Doctor card, reveal it and put it into your hand and shuffle. Then, for 4 and 2 blue, cast this spell only if you control 2 or more Doctors. Take an extra turn after this one, exile twice upon a time. That's cool. So, if you're running a Doctor deck, you can go search for a Doctor for 3, play that Doctor, then cast this card with your commander, the Doctor on the field, there are 2 Doctors on the field. Take an extra turn. It's an extra turn spell. Only if you're running Doctors. Haha! 2 more cards here for this video. Wibbly Wobbly Timey-Wimey. I love that. 1 in a blue for a sorcery. Time travel. Draw a card. Simple. Very simple. If you're running a deck that likes time counters, run it. If you ain't, don't. Period. End of story. Moving on. Love the look. What does it actually say? People assume time is a strict progression of cause to effect, but actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it may look. It's more like a big ball of wibbly wobbly timey-wimey stuff. That explanation was literally an excuse to do whatever the hell they want. Here we go, last blue card, Zygon Infiltrator. 2 and a blue, 3/2, creature alien, shapeshifter soldier, with body print. 2 and a blue. Tap another target creature and put a stun counter on it. Zygon Infiltrator becomes a copy of that creature for as long as that creature remains tapped. Activate only as a sorcery. You can tap a lot of crap with this for 2 and a blue. If you reduce that down to like just a blue, tap everything and it becomes copies. What do you want to copy? Anything with an attack trigger or combat damage trigger. It's okay. It's kind of a dud to die on, to end on. Wibbly Wobbly Timey-Wimey was so much cooler. Out of the blue cards, though, I mean, I'll make a video talking about my favorite cards from the set. I really like Traverse Energy, anything that draws me cards, but my favorite blue card is probably the Floodamars. I'll explain that in another video. Anyways, peace.